So, JD, you and I have known each other a long time, going back obviously to the San Jose days, but you have big connections to
Yeah.
Arizona. You played there, you live there, you totally understand the hockey market there. How do you describe what you saw last night with the Coyotes?
Bittersweet for sure to see them to see the support from everybody was beautiful. And I'm in New York, so I wasn't able to go to the game. I would have loved to. To see, I don't know if I would even call it closure, but a nice send off. And the guys obviously showed what this team and that city means to them by the game they played, because they were flying all over the ice, and their energy was high. And all credit goes to the players and the coaching staff there and the training staff, because all this noise all year and for many years, even when I was there, it's tough to play and block out that noise. And I heard it a little bit when I was playing the 4 years I was there, and it was always around. And we had the huge GM change with Chaika leaving kind of right before playoffs, and ownership changing mid-season, and always thinking there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and then kind of being the tunnel just extending itself a little bit longer. So beautiful to see the turnout, and beautiful to see the win and the ending by the guys, but still bitter. It's still tough to kind of put into words. And Tyson Nash did some amazing things, and some very true things last game, talking about how it's a privilege to have a franchise in a city, and how the city kind of squandered it. And not mentioning the ownership per se, but definitely undertones, sending a shot to the ownership, as well as the city of Phoenix, and maybe Tempe for the vote that didn't actually happen, and when the team got voted down. But that, a lot of people get mad at Tempe, but you got to pay to play, and you got to invest in community. And the biggest part about a ownership group, and listen, I don't have the money to buy a team. If I did, I could, I would, and if I did, I would. So there is some level of, like, we can all kind of bitch and moan at the ownership, but it's a select group that can buy a franchise, and then also have the money and the wherewithal to possess one. But from everything I've seen from ownership around the league, and in any other sport, for a team to truly survive and thrive, as you would know, you need to build a sense of community, and you need to invest your money knowing that you're probably going to lose some for the betterment of the team, and bringing the right people along. And you can't run it like a normal business. It's not a traditional business.
Right.
And the ownership that was in place, they tried to run it like a casino where cash was king, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work when you're trying to grow something, and grow something the right way. You need to bring in the people that are gonna wear that Coyotes logo in their hearts, on their chest, and that's just the way you grow it. And unfortunately, they really missed the mark, and they only thought about it one way, that it was a transactional kind of business. And it's stubborn businessmen that think they could come in and kind of, oh, I know how it works. This is the model. It's rinse and repeat. But it's not when you own a sports franchise, because so much that goes into a sports franchise is the fans and the people that work within the organization, not the business people, not the executives, because it's not that. It's down to the skate sharpener, the person that works the gate, the girls that clean the ice. It's
Zamboni
all
driver.
Zamboni. Yeah, it's all those people that bring together a community and allow it to grow it. And I always look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nobody thought Tampa Bay would ever have a emerging market of a hockey team, and would grow it so exponentially. But that ownership group put it in the downtown. They said, this team is Tampa Bay. It's going to be part of the city. And obviously winning comes after where you need to win, obviously, but you can't win if you don't spend money, knowing that you're probably going to lose some, without seeing the greater vision at the end, which is, the more you win, the more fans, the more community gets involved. And then down the line, the price of owning the team, and the valuation of the team just grows and grows and grows. So it's better to that point. And I kind of rambled on a little bit,
It's all
but
right.
it's hard to not hold my tongue and really carve into this ownership group, because I was also one of the bystanders that took some shrapnel with my kind of last game of my career with them not happening, and that's a small sliver in a lot of mistakes they made, especially the way they handled Shane Doan
Yeah, his
and
banner that was his jersey retirement.
I saw
I
that.
thought that was urban legend. I never really thought that was true until I saw the fan handing him back that jersey banner from Gila River Arena last night. So you're telling me that when they vacated, they didn't take that banner with them. The arena like tossed it, somebody retrieved it, and then the team never got that back and took care of that, hung it up at Mullett Arena? That's crazy.
I don't know the full details, so I don't want to talk, but if
Sure.
there's any truth to that story, I mean, it only adds the fact that one of the nicest human beings,
Oh,
Shane Doan, on so many levels, and I can't
absolutely.
even explain to people how selfless he is. And it's not just because he doesn't say any swear words, which he doesn't. He doesn't swear at all. But the fact that he just bled Coyotes and did anything he could, he tried to help that ownership group every step of the way, getting them sponsorship deals, helping them secure land. Like he was trying to lend in any way, just with the relationships, because Donor has built he's part of that community, and he is Mr. Coyote,
Yeah.
and he has so many people that wanted to support the Coyotes because of him, and they just dropped the ball at left, right, and center because again, it became very transactional for them, and they missed the mark on what it means to grow a franchise.
So let me ask you this. I mean, understanding the Valley, understanding the Phoenix market, to me, relocation, like, especially in this sense, it's the definition of failure, right? And I mean, like, something didn't work, and it could have worked, and it should have worked, but it didn't work. So this market is plenty big enough to succeed, right? Like, there's an appetite for
Top,
hockey here. So,
it's a top five U.S. market and maybe one of the fastest growing markets in
so
the United States.
we can take the fans right out of that equation of failure, right?
Yes, because, and here's the thing is they were in Phoenix when they were in downtown
Right.
early on in their tenure. I mean, they had great fans, and the building just wasn't suited, and it wasn't really built for hockey, and they still had a great following, great support. And in typical kind of, listen, the ownership was saying at that time, and there was a large group of them, and that was kind of part of the issue all those years, is there's just so many cooks in the kitchen, and
Yeah.
they wanted to secure land that would be potentially cheaper and maybe something going into a city that would grow into the Coyotes like Glendale. But
Right.
They were just maybe 20, 30 years short, because Glendale is kind of coming along now because of the growth of the market in Arizona, but I don't think it's there. And the hockey fans aren't there. The hockey fans are in Scottsdale, they're in Tempe,
Right.
they're in Phoenix. That's where they are. They're not on the outskirts. And because when you think about it, you have a lot of the snowbirds, a lot of the Canadians that are moving down there. You have a lot of people that are from the Northeast that are moving to Arizona, and they're moving into the Scottsdale area. And I drove on game day for 4 years when I played there, from Scottsdale to Phoenix to Glendale, sorry, from Scottsdale to Glendale.
It's a hike.
I mean, it's a 40-minute drive without traffic.
Yeah.
So you think as a player, you're driving an hour and a half in traffic on a game day. What fan wants to do that for 41 times there and back? So it's an hour and 40 there, 40 minutes back. And again, when there's other things to do in a city, especially for fans, you have to take out all the guesswork. You got to make it convenient for them. You have to cater to the fans. It's not like a Montreal. It's not like a Toronto, a Boston, a New York, where the fans will come because the market's there, and it's just kind of in their blood. Arizona, the fans aren't going to drive 2 hours, and there's not really any teams other than maybe Ottawa and Canada. And if you look at their rink, they're trying to move downtown
Right.
because you have to make it convenient for fans. Fans will come for a football game because they'll drive an hour for a football game because it's only 8 times a year. The fact that you have 41 times an opportunity to go, that's a lot of money spent. So you have to make it convenient for fans on their time and their energy spent getting to the rink. So, that didn't happen when they went to Glendale, and it just didn't catch on. And then they go to Tempe, but again, they put it in Mullett Arena, which was a great experience for fans. But again, they
Right.
upcharged the tickets.
Well, and
Instead of saying we're going to lose our hat, but we're going to lose our hat anyway, so why not charge a little bit less and just get all the blue blood, hardworking Arizona fans that love the game. But instead, they charge the minimum was 300 a ticket,
yeah,
350 a ticket. You're excluding a huge market. They still sold out and they still have
right.
great attendance. People came, but you put an 18,000 seat arena there and you charge the right price tickets
Yep.
like it at the Gila River when it was in Glendale, and you park that in Phoenix or Scottsdale, you are full. I'm guaranteed or close to capacity every night. And obviously putting a good team on the ice is important as well.
I want to respect your time, but I also want to hustle through a couple different topics here because there's some
Yeah.
things I don't understand. As recent as like 2 weeks ago, the Coyotes on social media were peddling this new site, 100 acres north of the Loop 101, Scottsdale Road. We're going all in. We're going to win this land auction. There was no votes to go against this. This was all in their control. Alex Meruelo said, we will win this. We will build this. And then within days, the NHL has 2 schedules coming out. And then following that, they're going to Salt Lake City. Like, how do we interpret that mixed messaging for fans? I mean, you talk about like getting yanked around. That's the ultimate roller coaster right there.
Well, I think that's solely on the ownership. I don't think the people working within the offices knew. They were going off information they were getting. I knew for myself every time I talked to somebody that worked either with the foundation or worked on the sidelines with the team, they all thought this was 100% happening because that's the information they were getting
Right.
from ownership. Meanwhile, is ownership doing back deals and not and telling half truths? I don't know. I'm not in the room, but I can just kind of allude to it by saying that's what I wouldn't fault anybody that was reporting on it. Craig Morgan reported on this a lot, and
Yeah.
he's a dear friend, and no one's bled more for the Coyotes as a beat writer than him. And yeah, I mean, you share a similar plight with the with the Oakland A's,
Yeah.
and
And I've talked to Craig about this
that.
too. Yeah. We've been in
Yeah,
contact about this.
and Craig was getting information that was getting information from, no one can really get a straight answer, but they all got the same answer, that Coyotes were here to stay. They're
Right.
getting the land. And listen, maybe they are getting the land, and maybe there is a way they're taking this money to get the land
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to build a rink and then bring a team back,
2.0.
which,
Right.
well, yeah, which I'm hoping. But, do the fans want the Meruelo group to be the owners? And to me, I give a lot of credit to the NHL for giving it as much time as possible, and then being like, listen, we're going to step in and we have a willing owner. We need to give something right for the teams and the fans. And, obviously it can't be in Arizona. There's a willing owner in Ryan Smith and somebody who wants to build a franchise. And so hopefully this plays out where they get the land and the team comes back. But, as for right now, we can just see what's in our, 10 feet in front of us. And right now I thought I can say positively that I thought the NHL did a good job jumping in and then and taking the team off their hands, because I mean, who knows what's true with this group.
Well, and moving forward, I mean, we don't know that for sure yet. That's what's been reported, right? That there might
It's
be
hoping.
a
That's the
5 year
hope.
a
Yeah.
5 year window. They're going to keep the
Yeah.
name Coyotes,
Yeah.
the logo, all that stuff intact, so
Yep.
that if there is the possibility to buy that land to build that arena, then the NHL will come right back. But then they might expand before then to Houston, back to Atlanta. But my point is, so like if Alex Meruelo gets first crack at doing that as the ownership group, and last night was really the last night at Mullett Arena and in Arizona for now or forever, why wouldn't he have been there to at least kind of provide that forward momentum, build that trust? I mean, people would be upset maybe by his presence, and this is the reason this is coming to an end. But he could have also said, hey, this is my opportunity to promise you that we will be back. I will take care of you. It was kind of weird.
I don't know if he would have made it out of there if he went there, and he maybe made that decision. Now he's taking a lot of heat for it,
Yeah,
as he should, because at the end of the day, you're not providing enough clarity, so people are going to assume what they're going to assume.
right.
And you haven't come out and addressed anything truthfully. And if he would come out and it had full transparency the whole time, it might have went way smoother than it actually did. But what happens is, you either you're telling a lie or half truths and you dig yourself a hole,
Right.
and then he just might not have been able to dig himself out of it. And the thing is, listen, there's the hope there that he brings it back. He seems like he's a businessman that's very strong-willed and wants to win. So maybe he does have plans to bring it back. But the reaction from Coyotes fans, which is justified, might rub him the wrong way. And he might just be like, no, I don't need this. So, and that's kind of his making. But I talked to somebody within the organization and some people that were at the game, and they all said the same thing: as the best thing he did was not show up to the rink that night and let the fans have their night. And maybe it was strategic. He just didn't want to take away from the moment, which was about the fans and about the city and about the players, who I thought did a fantastic job all year
Yeah.
of managing this, because it ain't easy. And you can say what you want to guys, they're getting their money and they're getting paid, but it's difficult because everybody has lives. And the hardest thing, not just the players, but everybody that works at that rink. Like I said, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people losing jobs. There's
Oh,
a lot
I'm
of
aware.
people.
I'm aware.
Yeah, there's a ton of people losing jobs from
Yeah.
this, and the ripple effects are very deep down to chefs that work for the team, that don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing next year.
Yeah.
And I can't, in good conscience, and not be upset about it, because I care about those people. And those people are what, like I said at the beginning of this, they're the people that make up that franchise. It's not just the ownership group.
Yeah.
It's the people all that you surround the owner that you surround the team with. A lot of those people are going to lose their jobs now. So it's
Yeah.
it's sad and it's frustrating.
Couple more things here. What's in the best interest of Arizona hockey? I mean, obviously you've got the Tucson Roadrunners, and Meruelo family owns them too. There's talk of them maybe coming into Tempe to play at Mullett to kind of keep the appetite fresh, at least in the Phoenix area in the Valley, for hockey. I know ASU is a big program. They still obviously have the brand new building, and I know that youth hockey with the Ice Den is huge over in Scottsdale. So, like, how does Arizona stay an active hockey community without an active NHL team?
I think it's going to take a lot of us that are there. And I've already talked with Lindsay Fry, and she's trying to put together a group that will essentially act as ambassadors for youth hockey in Arizona. And obviously, I'm going to probably reach out to Shane Doan. And again, listen, the alumni in Arizona is phenomenal at what they do. I skate with those guys on the regular, and they're amazing. And they may or may not, and this might get me in trouble, but they may or may not be owed money by the ownership that hasn't been paid in quite some time. So, and I don't know if it'll ever be paid. So
Hmm.
I found that out a couple of weeks ago and got really upset, because this alumni team, this alumni group, Wayne McBean, Mike Vukovic, Donors part of it, Ray Whitney, uh, Garnet Exelby, Mike Commodore, the list goes on and on. The things that these guys do uh, around the community, not just Phoenix, but in Tucson, in Flagstaff. We have a May 5th, we have a charity game, the Wounded Warriors Foundation, and we're going to be playing with a lot of vets and things like that, and trying to raise money and awareness and the amount of things they do in the community. So I think it'll be on us we've already kind of looked, and the NHL states that if there's alumni within the city, even though the team leaves, you can keep the alumni. So
That's good.
hopefully it'll be on us as a community to come together, because that is the other thing: is youth hockey is very much dependent and reliant on the teams that are within that city,
Yep.
because there's a lot of money that goes to the charities and youth hockey, and that's going to be a big hole. So
Yep.
hopefully we can come together as a community and help that out. And I'm really willing to figure out whether we put together a board and get people. We have, if you look at youth hockey in Arizona, which has grown exponentially, there's a lot of ex players that are doing a fantastic job coaching the youth from U10 to U16. Zibnik Mahalik His team just won the Nationals, I'm pretty sure. Michael Grabner coaches, Dallas Drake, Keith Carney, and the list goes on and on of guys that are donating their time. Darcy Hordichuk's opened up a facility for kids to train and work out at. So there's a ton in place there, and it's just makes it even more frustrating
Yeah.
because the amount of guys that played there that weren't taken care of or necessarily an afterthought of from the Coyotes ownership has, without them, done so much for the community and helped out so much in the
Yeah.
community. So this new ownership that came in really missed the mark, and hopefully we can kind of step up and fill in that gap. And there's still I know Andy Barraway a little bit, and aside from all the stuff that happened with Andy Barraway, he loves hockey and loves the Coyotes and loves the community. So I'm sure he's going to be a part as well of helping keep some semblance of youth hockey, and definitely, he was a proud owner of the Coyotes.
What's the idea on the site that is being talked about right now? Do people generally like it? Would that work in your opinion? I realize
Yeah.
it's like a $3 to $4 billion project. It's way more than just the arena. It's a practice facility, a concert venue, retail, commercial, all that stuff. I mean, you live down there. You know the area real well. If they actually do that project there, is that going to satisfy everything? Would that be the end game in Arizona?
Yeah, and if he does it, credit to the Morelos. And listen, I've come on here and shit on him a little bit in the group, but if he goes and does that, I mean, it's going to work. And if he executes, it's going to work. And there's a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
But again, he made a profit on the Coyotes with not with essentially never having an actual NHL rink, and he made a profit on the Coyotes. So for him to think as a businessman,
right,
that he can't make this work if he puts any semblance of a rink in that area, which is just a perfect area for a team. It's where it should have been all the time.
Yeah.
Just because all the highways kind of converge in that area,
right.
And regardless of what some Scottsdale mayor that doesn't have a say in it anyway, because it's not part of Scottsdale.
Yeah, and
it's
that, by the way, people thought that was a tipping point, but the NHL had already been working on its dual schedules. So what he said, and then by the way, the next day, he did almost a total 180 on that. Did you know that?
Well, yeah. Well, we all know on election years what comes out of people's mouths. So, because we're all trying to get reelected when we're in that space. So kudos to him for getting some eyes on him and doing the 180. So he probably gained some traction with a lot of voters. So whoever's on his campaign trail did a fantastic job. So, but I think it would work. And if he executes, amazing for him. He's going to make even more money.
Yeah.
So, would I be happy with him? Probably not.
Right.
Because it's still a sour taste. Because again, if they put shovels in the dirt tomorrow or today, we're still 5 years away.
Yeah. No, it's going to take a while.
There's a lot that can change in 5 years. And then you got to think about what's it going to cost him to bring a team there in 5 years? Like what happens? Is he going to have to pay for a franchise?
Right.
So does he want to do that? A $3 billion project. And I know the thing is he has the money. For anybody that's saying that he doesn't have the money, that's not the case. He's a very good businessman. It's just a hockey franchise and a normal business dealings are two different things.
Yeah. Well, and you make a good point. That might be the promise, and Bettman and Murillo and whoever else, Bill Daly from the NHL, later today or tomorrow, they might come out and spell all of this out. Like we're talking about this now. We think we know it's going to happen. We don't. But if that's the way it is, right, there is that interesting opportunity for Coyotes 2.0. So my last question is this. I mean, what happened last night happened. We all saw it. It's crazy that it was unofficial, by the way. Like the only reason fans know about any of this is because the media brought it to light. Like the team didn't announce this. The league hasn't officially said anything. And maybe they can't.
The need for good media.
Well, no, and you're right. Craig and among others down there have done an absolute outstanding job at alerting people to this and staying on this. It's crazy how it went from it might happen, it'll never happen, it might happen, and then, oh my goodness, within 10, 14 days, it all kind of came together. So that's kind of the last thing I wanted to end it on here. like the realization of this, I know people saw what they saw last night. Do you think in Arizona and yourself, as somebody who played for the team, has the realization of what happened actually sunk in yet? Or is it going to take until like next October when the Salt Lake City whatevers are getting ready for action and there's nothing happening with Arizona hockey?
Yeah, it's like it's borderline tears to the eye, and it's hard to talk without getting emotional about it because it
Yeah.
was a big chunk of my life, and whether the way it ended, I had posted something on Instagram. Somebody sent me a picture of a jersey of mine, and it's special to anytime you're an athlete. I don't think some guys think about it enough, but to have another human being wearing your family's name on their back, and it's a special thing, and it's an honor to have that, and you want to show up for people like that. So it's sad for that group of fans, and the majority of them that have spent so much time and energy and money supporting the Coyotes and are still leaving with love with it, and still have hope. So the only thing I could say is hopefully their hope is kind of respected, and
Yeah.
there's somebody that at least doesn't yank their chain. It's one of those things. If you're gonna let everybody down, let them down now, and just be honest.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people value honesty over whatever just happened. Because I think in 6 months, when training camp starts, it's going to be a shock to some people, because you know it as well as anybody in the sports world. Like, a lot of people's schedules in their lives are tailored around their sports team.
Yeah.
And that's a huge gap that's now going to have to be filled by
Yep.
something else. So hopefully the ASU Sun Devils, which I know they're a program that took some great strides forward. What Coach Powers is doing there, and is really can't be understated. So hopefully they'll take a lead, and if Tucson, the Roadrunners, go up there, that'd be a great rink for them to play up there, and it would kind of give some semblance of security for people, and give somebody to watch, the fans something to watch. But yeah, it's going to be it's tough. It's definitely tough, because it's a moment in time that we'll all have, but we might not be able to get back.
Well, for Sharks fans watching this, I'll say desert dogs, desert dogs, desert dogs. They know that as a drinking game, so everybody can
Keep drinking.
yeah,
I know.
can make their pain go away. JD, I appreciate this. Continue your great work out there with the big network. Look at you.
Thank you so much. Just waiting for you to call me and pay me.
I did call you today.
You did. I know, we're talking. That'll be $500.
And we're done.